So I've just come out of a period of about 2 weeks where it's been incredibly busy. And in the beginning, it was because there was a lot to get done. But as I got closer towards the end of that period of time, I started to realize that I was creating my own busyness. And for me, that was from what is called precrastination. And precrastination is when you are overly proactive, or you try and get something done as quickly as possible. And that, for me, results always in rework, and sometimes the work that I've done becoming irrelevant. But nonetheless, I started to notice that my own internal clarity was falling apart. I was unable to really put my finger on what was important, what the priorities were, and where I needed to focus my energy. And then I came to a little bit of realization while I was doing some reflecting. So there's a model, I forget who was the guy who developed the model, but it's called the competing values model. And I'm going to use different language here just to keep it simple. But essentially, if you imagine 4 quadrants, and on the bottom quadrant, bottom left for me, bottom left quadrant is results. The top left quadrant is strategy, innovation, agility, maneuverability. And then the bottom right is structure, and the top right is people. Now you can often look at this in a team, and it's called competing values because the diagonals pull in opposite directions. So if your focus is on results, then your focus gets pulled away from people. If your focus is on strategy and innovation, then your focus gets pulled away from structure. And you often see this in a team, where we're busy working with one actually at the moment, where the focus is very much being pulled towards results and innovation, and as a result, people are starting to burn out, and there's the structure the internal structures are falling apart. So that doesn't mean to say that there's any right way. It doesn't mean to say that you need to find the center. Sometimes you do need to focus more on strategy. Sometimes you do need to focus more on results. But if you do that consistently, you do it at the expense of people and structure. Now, what struck me was taking that same model and applying it to yourself. If your focus moves towards results, outcomes, strategies, what am I going to do? Is it going to work? What's the outcome I'm going to get? Then it pulls your attention away from internal structure, also known as clarity, and how you are being, how you are showing up, what's your energy. And that's what I realized through this last 2 weeks, is that my attention got pulled right into achieving results and getting things done and thinking of clever strategies. But in doing that, it left me feeling all over the place. Lack of clarity internally, lack of groundedness internally. No attention on how am I actually showing up here? What energy am I bringing into these moments? So it's a nice model to think about, because what then it brings us back to is, where are you placing your attention? The power of attention. And your attention is not the same as your thoughts. Your thoughts exist in the mind, and the mind creates all sorts of narratives. But your attention, do you place your attention externally? Do you place it internally? Where are you placing your attention? And there's no simple answer to this, because different situations, different moments require you to place your attention in different places. So it's not a right or a wrong thing. It's an awareness thing. It's being aware of, I'm placing my attention a lot on the external right now. If I do that for too long, I'm going to start losing internal clarity. So I've come up with 3 questions that very powerfully will shift your focus and attention. And as Anthony Robbins always says, we don't experience life, we experience the life we focus on. So what you focus on, what you pay attention to in any situation, is the determining factor for the quality of your experience in that situation. We tend to focus a lot on things we can't control. So the moment you're focusing on outcomes, on strategies, okay, it's fine to strategize and come up with ideas. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you start to focus on the outcome, this is how I want this to turn out, and you stay focused on that, you become attached to that, then what happens is we lose presence about how we are showing up. Now, the only thing you can control is how you show up. So here are the 3 questions. And these 3 questions I am going to really ask myself and get into the habit of asking myself in situations. The first question is this something I can control? And the answer to that, you don't even have to answer it, because the answer to that is no, you can't. Okay, is this situation something I can control? Is this outcome something I can control? No. Can I control the outcome of this? No. The answer is always no, unless you're lying to yourself. All right, so if you accept that you cannot control the outcome of anything, then the next question is, can I accept what already is? And that's also important to go, yes, I can. Because if you don't accept what already is, well, there's no one in the history of humanity that's been able to change what's already happened. If it's already happened, it's happened. Accept it. That's simple. It's not easy, I know. But if we don't accept what's already happened, then we start using our energy to fight something that we can't change, which creates resistance. Okay, so the third question then is, how am I choosing to show up now? So run through them again. Can I control the outcome of this? No. Second one is, can I accept what's already happened? Yes. Third one is, how do I choose to show up now? That's the only thing that we can control. And so what this approach takes into account is the power of questions to shift your attention. The second thing to just summarize is that when our attention gets pulled outwardly, it gets pulled away from what's going on internally. And that's fine, but keep awareness, because the longer your attention stays outward focused, the less awareness you have of what's going on the inside. And we can't control what's happening out there. We can only control what we do and how we show up. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to pop a comment. If you like the video, please think about subscribing to the channel. Not for anything other than it just reminds you of when I release new videos. And of course, it also helps me to know that the videos that I'm putting out there aren't just going into the void, but actually landing with people and helping. So that kind of engagement really does help me.